There were no games from day one. Like we both, from the first time we were together, we knew when we would see each other next. It wasn't like, oh, I have to wait 3 days to call or any of that business. It was like, hey, when are we seeing each other again? Sometimes you just look into someone's eyes and you can see the story sort of unfold. We were introduced by Rachel Zoe, who Jeremiah used to work with on her show and in her company. I remember Rachel telling me like, oh, we just hired this guy, he's so great, he's awesome, like I can't wait for you to meet him. He was dating someone else, I was dating someone else. It was actually super appropriate when we met. We were like, hey, it's so great to finally meet you, because we had heard so much about each other. And then I think 2.5 years later, we were both single, and Jeremiah happened to be out here in New York City. I was with friends, and we made plans, and we've been together ever since.
Love at first sight.
It was, though. Our first date never ended.
We both like each other, which is really great when you're married to somebody. You know, we both like each other and we love each other. We love spending time with one another. We respect each other. And I think talking a lot, which is not a popular thing for a lot of people, but that's like the sexiest thing to me in the world.
Vulnerability, I think, is like a huge thing in any relationship, because if you're willing to be vulnerable, it means you're willing to be known, and we're willing to know each other. The sides of us that aren't so great, the sides of us that are really challenging, the sides of him that are super challenging.
There's hardly any.
I mean, like the days that he's
you
really
are a
difficult.
Monster. I don't know who you think you're fooling
like,
right now. Self-awareness is another thing that's really sexy about him, in case you were wondering.
Life happens, and children happen, and schedules happen, and sometimes it feels like another thing on your list to be like, okay, let's now have a big download on how you're feeling about this situation and how I'm feeling about this situation. But I think at the end of the day, we really know each other, and I think that has been sort of the glue that allows us to keep building on this foundation that we have as a couple.
The most annoying thing that people say about marriage is it takes work. And I hate how general that sounds, but what people don't talk about in marriage is people always are evolving, right, individually, and you have to really work to continue to evolve together. You know, you've got to really kind of understand what somebody else is going through, whether you're in different chapters, and you've got to constantly have those conversations and those check-ins, and that, I know, is what we do really well, because we care about each other succeeding the best way possible.
Yeah, you got to be a fan. You have to be the biggest support you have. That's, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, right now,
you're like borderline creepy how much of a fan of me you are.
You're like grossing me out right now. It's a great relief, I think, to know that you're with the person that you want to grow old with.
I think the interesting thing to me about, you know, getting older together is the thing about like real good love, true love that nobody talks about, is it continually evolves. You know, I've watched the evolution of our love story from when we met and what you thought was incomparable to anything else, and then getting married, and then it explodes into something else, and then you have kids, and then it explodes into something else because you see each other in a very different facet again, and then you're raising your kids and you see each other in a different way. So love is always evolving if you're doing it right, I think, and I'm excited to see where it continues to evolve.